Hello, everyone, and welcome to twitch.tv/the Onyx Path. My name is Travis Legg. My pronouns are he and they, and I have the honor and privilege of being your story guide tonight as we dive into session 0 of Trinity Continuum Aegis. But before we do that, let me fix. I don't know what happened. We've been fighting gremlins all night, but now I have fixed our overlay and everything should be right in the world. And since it is, let's go ahead and have our cast introduce themselves, and we'll get into this lovely session 0. So I guess we'll start at my immediate clockwise. If you could, Corey, please tell us who you are, what you do, and anything your pronouns, and anything you'd care to promote.
Yeah, hey, I'm Corey, aka Corey Frang, aka Narf on the interwebs, they, them pronouns, and uh I work on a video game called Caves of Cud. We just had a new launch trailer that I really enjoy. I think it does a great job of summing up the game, so uh I'll just link that in chat whenever I
Oh, I just dropped
get.
it. You're good.
Oh, all right. And
I got your back.
yeah, considering my computer just rebooted itself, I'm just going to pass it along while I open things back up.
That's fair. Um, Rock and roll. Next up, that brings us to Simon. Please tell us who you are, what you do, your pronouns, and anything you'd care to promote.
Sure. I'm Simon, he, him. I run the temporarily paused but to be reinvigorated Tabletop Almanac RPG review blog at www.thetabletopalmanac.wordpress.com. You can find me on Twitter at Tabletop Almanac. Sorry, on X at Tabletop Almanac.
No force on earth will make me call it X.
Yeah, it still looks like Twitter on my phone until I click it, and then it says X. So it's undecided itself. And then you can also find me one Wednesday a month on the Onyx Path Twitch channel with my show Walking into Shadow. It's an introduction series to Mage of the Ascension 20th Anniversary Edition.
Beautiful. And I am getting some feedback that you are a bit quiet. So if you have any way of upping your mic volume, please do so.
How's this?
Simon, it's a little bit too loud. So if you can go about 75% of that would be great.
Testing.
I think you're probably about right.
Okay, great.
If anybody in chat barks, I'll let you know. And last but not least, that brings us over to Scott. Please give us your pertinence, your name, your pronouns, anything you'd care to promote.
Sure. My name is Scott Cuban. You can find me on X at Simulacra RPGs. I do not have the emotional attachment to Twitter to care that it changed. You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube, Simulacra TV, where I do a whole bunch of actual plays. My pronouns are he, him, if I didn't say that before. And as far as plugging, you should all turn if you like adventure and Trinity and all that. The finale of my adventure series, The Undesirables, is going to be airing tomorrow on my channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's a doozy. There's bird people. There's Nazis to punch. There's a deep conversation with Dr. Primoris about the future of inspired kind. So we'll enjoy that.
These are a few of my favorite things. Definitely head over there and shoot them a follow or a sub if you can, if you've not yet done so. As I mentioned before, the reason for the season is to promote Trinity Continuum Aegis now on BackerKit. I'm going to go ahead and throw the link up there in ye old Twitch chat, and I will probably do so a couple more times as we go through the night. Again, I would like to apologize for all the first night gremlins. I don't know why this happens, but almost every time we run a session 0, everybody's computer explodes. I don't know why it is. But now everything is up and running, and we are
better than in the middle of session 5.
That's valid. Yeah, right. The last thing you want to have happen is tech stop working during the series finale of something you've been streaming for 3 seasons. Not that that's ever happened to me before.
No.
Right, exactly. We are getting together. This is a session 0. We're going to be creating characters for Trinity Continuum Aegis. I have a very, very, very loose idea of what sort of a plot I would like to run and kind of where I would like it to eventually take place at, though we don't necessarily need to start there. I'm expecting we will do 2, perhaps 3 sessions of play, depending on how things go. And so I guess let's dive right into it, right? Before we get too far, I would like to, just to help me sort of gauge and control what we do and do not create for this campaign. I'm going to go ahead and do safety tools first, right up top. So as you know, if you've watched the channel in the past, I use the X card. Anytime you have an issue with anything that's going on, you can feel free to exit. You can type X in the Zoom chat. You can make an X with your hands on the video screen. You can say X out loud. Full disclosure, the Zoom chat's the last place I will see it, so just FYI. And I will not ask any questions, or I'll just back up, edit out the issue, and move forward. The only time I might ask a question is if I don't understand why you use the X card. I can't imagine a scenario in which someone might use an X card that I wouldn't be able to figure out almost immediately why. But one never knows, and I would just like to make sure that communication is clear up front. Secondly, I rely on yes goes and no goes. So, for example, on all of my streams, no goes are things that we absolutely do not want to see. On all of my streams, SA is a no go. I just see no reason whatsoever to include it in a game, and therefore it will not be included in the game. And my sort of, I guess, standing yes go for me is that I am a gorehound. So I love gory stuff, even in not horror settings. I'm a fan of explicit descriptions of terrible things happening to people when violence ensues. So that's a big yes go for me, kind of thing I want to see. Having said that, nobody's yes goes trump a no go. So just keep that in mind as we circle and figure out what we'd like to see. So let's do this in reverse order of our introduction. Scott, do you have any no-goes that you would like to introduce into our safety pool?
I mean, my standard is SA, so but I also do not like harm or death to pets.
Excellent. So no harm or death to, and just for clarification's purposes, we're talking about domesticated animals,
Yeah,
effectively, right?
domesticated animals, like a pack of wild animals or something. That's fine, but nothing with a name, that gets fed regularly.
No one shooting the old man's dog.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that at all.
No Old Yeller episodes. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly not. Yes goes. I definitely I would I like violence. I'm good on violence, good on gore. But I think yes goes would be like violence with a purpose.
Excellent. Okay. So you really want to make sure that there's like a driving story force to the action. Excellent. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Beautiful. Simon, any yes goes or no goes or both that you would like to share?
I'll just extend my no goes to harm or great peril, suggesting harm to children. And yes goes. So far, everything's good. I also like kind of like big epic dramatic scenes and the like almost over the top Dynasty Warriors level kind of thing.
Excellent. I will do my best to accommodate that, and I think this is the perfect setting for it. So
that's what I was thinking.
I believe you will be quite pleased as we delve into our tale. And that brings us around to Corey. If you could, please, any yes goes and or no goes and or both.
Yeah, no goes, just shadowing the ones that have already been mentioned. A couple of those are also on mine. So I think everyone has already kind of covered the things yes go wise, though I'm always in it for a good puzzle or bit of lore dump because I actually don't know very much about the lore in this world. So it would be kind
Excellent.
of cool to get to know a little bit more about that.
I think I can probably accommodate you.
Yeah.
That does bring me to the next point that I would definitely want to make sure I make on this stream. Um, Aegis is a science fiction game with the trappings of fantasy set in a time of antiquity, particularly an era during which, in the really real world, we don't have a whole lot of accurate historical records of. You may
Until
encounter,
now.
right, exactly. You may encounter anachronisms, things that seem strange, things that don't make a whole lot of sense, things that we factually know did not happen during this time period. I would suggest you repeat to yourself, it's just a show, I should really just relax. We're here to have fun. The excitement trumps historical accuracy. It's not that kind of game. If that's what you're into, you can absolutely use Aegis to run it. Having said that, that is not the mission statement. We're going to be having fun and telling wild tales, and people might show up, much like in an episode of Hercules or Xena. People who make no sense to be here at this time may very well show up and make a cameo. So I'm looking cross-eyed at you. Episode where Hercules met Christians. So,
They just had to shoehorn that in, didn't they?
true story. Thanks, Kevin Sorbo. Anyway.
Oh, it all makes sense now.
Yeah. So on that bright shiny, let's dive into the fun part, which is character creation. So, what I would like to do, as with all Trinity Continuum settings, character creation kind of recommends beginning with your concept. This would be things we would like to focus on, things that are like your origin, places you came from, what kind of character you want to be. If you know off the top of your head what inspired type you'd like to be, that's fine. If you don't worry. We're going to go over all of them. If you have just kind of an occupation in mind, that's fine too. Ideally, I would like to get 2 short-term and a long-term aspiration out of you, but if you're not ready for those at this stage, totally fine. We can add them whenever. So, from a concept perspective, shooting it around the other way around, Corey, do you have anything firm in mind for your concept?
Sorry, I just was laughing at chat there.
Yeah.
The yeah, I was kind of thinking about like somebody, because I was kind of reading some of the book. I'm getting part of the way through it. My personal family background is Scandinavian, so I figured I might as well go with a Scandinavian based character. And it seems
Excellent.
like basically all of the usable farmland and everything in Scandinavia seems to kind of be going to shit. So I'm figuring my character was somebody who probably was like a farmer, or like someone who even just dug irrigation canals and stuff like that, but then ends up now kind of being someone who travels looking for solutions to the blight.
Excellent. And do you have any short or long term aspirations that you would like to explore?
Thinking kind of the long-term aspiration is to find something they can bring home to their family to make life easier, right?
Excellent.
Because like not everyone is with him. As far as short term, I'm not really sure yet because I don't really know where I'm going to end up or what I'm doing. So
No
it might
worries.
even be something as simple as make it to land because I'm kind of tired of being on the sea.
Excellent. Okay, so want to wait a little bit, see kind of maybe where
Yeah.
we're looking at starting things off. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And some of that will be determined just based on what people's character concepts are. Like I said, I have a rough idea of where I want things to end up, but I'm open to starting them pretty much anywhere in the world. So that brings us around to Simon. Do you have an idea of what you would like to play.
Yeah, I was reading through it, and I have a concept that I think I'd like to sort of retool from another game and stick into here. It's an Ars Magica character I've been playing for a number of years.
Oh, you said the
Uh,
magic words. Yeah, okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
Quite literally.
and since we said it in the Theban Tribunal. I also made him half fairy, and in that game, the uh, quote unquote pagan gods are classified under fairy. So I set him as the son of Ares, or at least a fairy that claimed he was Ares.
Okay.
So I was thinking an Olympian of that quote unquote descent, because it seemed to be that they some of the inspired that come back around, or have their moment of inspiration, claim to have had that revelation that they are of divine lineage. And
Excellent.
so depending where we are, I kind of see him maybe as like a Hercules wandering, the legendary journeys kind of wandering type of buffoon and
I absolutely love it.
braggart.
That is perfect. And do you have any aspirations in mind for that?
Okay. Long term, yeah, so this will be a little easier, I guess, to come up with. Long term, let's say like claim his spot in Olympus or something like that.
Okay.
And short term, prove himself in battle, and I'll come up with another short term as well. So
Excellent.
a little single minded here, but
That's quite all right. We're just fleshing out concepts, and to be real, these can all shift. They'll change. If everyone keeps me good and honest, I will even at the beginning of next week's session, which will technically be our first session, I will go over tweaks at the very beginning. So if you're thinking about things throughout the week and you're like, I want to change this, we'll be able to do those at that point. Sound good? Okay, so I've got for your long term.
I would take his place in Olympus.
Excellent. And for your short term, prove yourself in battle, right?
Yep.
Excellent. And Scott, what do you got for a concept?
Being the overachiever that I am, I have got a pretty fleshed out one up to the character sheet. So I want to be playing an Olympian. And I'm drawing upon some slightly older mythological inspiration, that being Enkidu from the Epic of Gilgamesh. He's essentially, according to his memories, he was a bear, and a god came along and forced him to be a man. And that's just kind of pissed him off. So he's just trying to make his way through man's world while being a beast at heart.
I love it.
Yeah, and as terms of aspirations, like a nice short one would be to just like bear crush a guy to death.
Excellent.
And long term is find and confront the bastard that did this to me.
Excellent. So we got bear crush a guy to death for short.
Mhm.
Find party responsible for long. And do you have another short, or are you holding on to that for Christmas?
I'm gonna hold on for that for Christmas. I'm gonna percolate on that for a little bit.
Excellent. All right. So we do have two inspired types mentioned in your concepts, which is great. Corey, do you know what inspired type you would like to play? Just a quick overview of the inspired types in Aegis. As mentioned, obviously there are Olympians. Olympians are sort of your highly advanced, godlike, more than human. They're divinely transformed by the ambrosia, and they are as different from a baseline mortal as a lion is to an ant. These are our very powerful, overtly powerful, inspired type for the setting. The others are we have champions. Champions are kind of the heroes that have risen a step above humanity to the call of inspiration. They are favored by fortune, and their luck frequently saves them, and their skill frequently exceeds the base expectations and capabilities of humanity. And the third option are oracles, who display psychic abilities such as controlling the weather, predicting the future, and wielding powers of transformation. Many are seers or advisors, viziers, thing along those lines. So, did you have an inspired type in mind, Corey?
Uh, I'm thinking character wise, like this one's a bit more earthly and therefore like oracle, but not necessarily even truly understanding that they are.
Sure. Yeah,
If you know
absolutely.
what I mean, like has just kind of always had a bit of luck, knew which way to go, is sort of finding their way through this thing just on that sort of
Yeah, totally workable concept wise.
has a really easy time starting fires.
Glorious. Uh, Sounds like a plan to me. So now that we've got our concept situation handled, we will delve into paths. Before I get too far into this one, I do want to make sure that everybody does have a copy of the Trinity Continuum core book available to them and in front of them, just in case you need it. There are some things that you may wish to refer to that book for. Um, you select three paths just as you do in any Trinity game: your origin, role, and your college. Um, the origin shows where your character came from, the role shows what they do, and their associations are covered by the college. Uh, there are a few additional, any of the origins that are in Trinity Continuum core or roles can be massaged to work within the Aegis setting, but there are a few new ones as well. Um, for Origin, you have the Noble. There are Greek names for these. I'm not going to try those. Um, I'm brave, but I'm not that brave. So you have Noble, Peasant, Foreigner, and Exile are your Origin paths that are introduced. Um, and if you check those out, those are detailed in the character creation chapter. Um, New role paths that are introduced are the storyteller or bard, the merchant, the priest, the thief, and the philosopher scientist. So, do any of those reach out to any of you?
What does foreigner entail? Like, what's our baseline here? Is it the Greek peninsula and so on?
No. So, effectively, you were born outside of the society that you currently live within.
Okay.
Though you are an outsider, you have a place among these people and acceptance in their laws and practices. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if, for example, Corey specifically had said wanting to be from Scandia, um, doesn't necessarily mean that they would have to take the foreigner origin.
Okay. All right.
No, it does make quite a bit of sense.
It could, yeah. I mean, it's not impossible
Unless we end up in Scandinavia.
unless you end up in Scandia, which is not an impossibility.
So any of the core origin paths are fine.
Yeah, any of the origin paths from core are fine as well. Like I said, we may need to tweak the flavor of those paths to fit the setting. But then again, some of them don't require no tweaks whatsoever.
Like demolitions training, for example, is not a big problem.
Uh-huh.
Keep that in here.
Exactly. Yeah.
I went with survivalist from the core, closest to wild man.
Okay. In regards to role
His origin path.
or origin path. Okay.
I'm gonna go for adventurer.
Excellent. That also works perfectly fine. Any thoughts on origin, Corey?
I'm leaning towards the foreigner one because it kind of stood out and made sense when you read it. I'm looking it up right now and also kind of looking over some of the ones from Continuum Course. So
Okay.
Feel free to,
Bounce around a little bit.
yeah.
Excellent. In terms of role, I guess Scott, since you've got them pretty well sorted out, what did you choose for your role path?
Combat specialist.
Excellent,
He's
excellent.
he's a fighter. He's learned how to fight as a man. But it's mostly grappling and throwing people around, and
Nothing wrong with that. A little bit of Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yep, yep.
Um, Fair enough. Any ideas on role paths, Simon?
Is there pacifist somewhere in here?
I mean, one could argue that any of the role paths in Aegis could represent a pacifist. Um,
I think there's one like the face, which is highly diplomatic and
sure.
Yeah, I think combat specialist is probably going to be the one, unless there's a specific Aegis one that I
No,
haven't
that
paid
reaches out.
attention to yet.
No, that's
Yeah.
totally fine. Feel free to take combat specialist
Yeah.
at your leisure. Um, and then, Corey, had you given any thought to roll? Or are you still digging around for an origin?
Uh, Actually, I'm pretty sure foreigner makes sense. I actually just kind of had a question of like, what do I do with like the skills? Is that like a pick one or
So what you'll do with your skills is you'll just make a quick note of which skills come with your origin path,
okay?
because each path gives you 4 skills. You will have 3 dots to spend among those 4 skills.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
So what I generally do, just as a placeholder, is just note like which origin role or society
Yep.
it comes from,
Okay.
and then when we come to the actual spending of points, I go back and use that as guide. If that makes
Moving
sense.
on to roll.
Rock and roll. Um, yeah, as I said, the role paths introduced in here are the storyteller / bard, the merchant, the priest, the thief, and the philosopher scientist.
Might browse through the ones in the base book real quick.
Sure, by all means. Whilst you're
Where are those?
in the base book,
Someone give me a chapter reference or page reference by chance.
good question. 2 seconds. Those would be in chapter 2. I think they officially start.
Roll pass. Okay, I found it.
Yep. Rock and roll. And while Corey's looking at that, I'm going to go over real briefly a very, very, very truncated view of the colleges. Those are the society paths that are provided in Aegis. You have the Society of the Lion, which is an organization driven to understand ambrosia and whatever other secrets lay scattered from the Sky Chariot's fall. This college has, or at least is one of the forces that has established sort of control over the main Sky Chariot site and over Mount Olympus. They have set up a few of their chapter houses in that immediate area, and they sort of see themselves as the guardians of ambrosia to ensure that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Next up, you have the Delphic League. The Delphic League works to guide humanity and its heroes to a more just age, where people are less at the mercy of cruel nature and uncaring gods. The Delphic League tends to call to oracles, but certainly anyone of any inspired type can belong to them. The Circle of Heroes, who live by deed and action in the pursuit of the immortality of legend, fling themselves at challenges so others might sing songs of your great achievements. The Fellowship of Asipu, and forgive me if I mispronounced that. These are learned advisors privileged to have received apprenticeship and instruction in skills of mathematics, medicine, and the arts of the esoteric. Um, largely set in, they're largely operate out of Assyria. There's the Masters of Colchis, who are inventors and crafters. They master the world not only through mundane physics and engineering, but through um, ambrosia and some of the greatest experts in the world as on ambrosia as part of their organization. There are the scribes of the shell, who are an emissary of heaven's highest mortal representative on earth, sent far from the homelands of Shang to investigate the fall of the sky chariot and the ambrosia left in its wake. The Scandian storm, which hails from the north, traveling far from your home to seek the means to clean your lands of the curse of the risen dead who plague the living thanks to corrupted ambrosia. Um, the Order of Themis.
In case it wasn't obvious, I was kind of thinking about that one.
About Scandian Storm? I thought you might
be. Yeah.
The Order of Themis have the means and drive to do good in the world, and that's what they plan to do. As a member of the Order of Themis, you're not interested in studying ambrosia for its own sake or keeping your gifts hidden from the world. Instead, rather, you just want to get out there and make positive change. Consequences be damned. And then there's the Vines of Ilmaquah, I believe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that. And those are diplomat scholars who are on the road to seek whatever knowledge they can learn and bring back to their kingdom. They understand that people and cultures in faraway lands hold their own knowledge and experience, and gathering that wisdom can help expand the wisdom of the kingdom. So, do any of those colleges? Obviously, Corey, you said that Scandian Storm sort of spoke to you. Scott, you've already made your choice, correct?
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to be of the Gorgons, but they didn't have a path written out. But I think Circle of Heroes probably would fit. In that, he in his early wanderings, he met up with a member of them, and they got into a fight for some stupid reason that ended up with like both of them near dead. And that rolled into him, proving himself a worthy fighter to join that college.
Fair enough. And did any of the colleges reach out to you, Simon?
The Circle of Heroes as well.
Excellent.
Just we'll have some friendly competition.
Perhaps Simon's character is the hero that you ran into, and you nearly beat each other to death, and then went out for drinks.
Yeah, you can be my Gilgamesh, man.
No, you can be mine. If we want to get all Top Gun about it. Excellent. So just to review then, Scott, run us down your paths.
I've got Survivalist for my origin path, Combat Specialist for my role, and Circle of Heroes for my college.
Excellent. Simon, run us down your paths.
Adventurer for origin, Combat Specialist for role, and Circle of Heroes for college.
Beautiful. Corey, if you would please.
If I remember to unmute myself, we got Foreigner for the origin. I think I'm going to do technology expert for role.
Excellent. Okay.
And that they're kind of like a person who just knows how to fix shit, build shit.
It's very fitting for the Scandian Storm too, because they do employ a lot of artifacts and such.
College Scandian Storm. Yeah.
Beautiful. Once all of those have been selected, you will note in each of your paths, they will provide you with a list of skills and a list of edges, as well as recommended connections. Each of your paths gets one connection, which has a one tag. The suggested connections are listed under the path, and the connection tags or recommended connection tags are listed in the core book on page 40. In addition to, so you get 3 points to spend on the skills listed under each path, and then 2 points to spend on the edges listed in each path. Make sense?
3 for each path and 2 for each path.
Correct.
Okay. So a total of 9 skill choices.
Right. You should have 9 dots of skills at this point, and then six dots of edges. Some of your edges will be noted in the core rulebook. Those begin on page 57. The remainder of the edges can be found in the character creation document here. There are 6 new edges listed in this document. If my eyes do not deceive. The new edges offer you broad knowledge, which gives you access to random trivia, consolidation, which makes you good at leadership, highborn, which you're a member of a prestigious, if not necessarily noble, bloodline. Intense focus grants you an ability to sort of work through distraction. Pancratist, which is a new martial art based on, it's basically a Greek fighting style. And Polyglot, which gives you the ability to pick up languages super duper easily. Depending on which paths you have, some of those might be among your path choices. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions about any edges. And once again, I would assume, Scott, you have your path edges sorted out?
Yep. I've got all my edges sorted out. I picked up Swift, the 2-dot version of Animal Ken, Intense Focus, Forceful Martial Arts, and Pancratist.
Excellent. Sounds like a solid plan. And are there any edges that are immediately leaping out at Corey or Simon, or are you still working on skill expenditures?
We'll just go through them here, but won't take long.
Sure. No
we
problem.
have extra points at the end, right? To get
Yes, you will get a pool of points when that's all said.
Do edges have like a 2-point, like one or like? Can I take an edge more than once? Would that make sense, or is it only for some of them and I have to go figure out?
Yeah, the ones that have a range will state a range.
Okay. Because I was thinking, like, is library one of those? Because I get that from 2 different choices, so I feel like I should take it twice.
Library runs
All right.
1, 2, 3. So
Okay.
and that is detailed in the core book.
Yep.
Though again, as one is adapting to the setting, nobody in this setting has Google. We might be anachronism friendly, but we're not that anachronism friendly.
No great eye of knowledge.
You may have a great eye of knowledge, but you don't have Google. And again, if any questions arise, feel free to ask them. Including, by the way, if you're watching live in chat, if you have any questions, feel free to fire away. This is a group activity, so by all means. And once again, I would remind you that the reason for our stream tonight is to promote Trinity Continuum Aegis, now crowdfunding on BackerKit. We are currently at 36,000, just over 36,000 on a $20,000 goal, with 755 backers. So for those of you who have backed, thank you so much. That has enabled us to unlock a few stretch goals, which is quite exciting. I see that we are going to be including, let's see here. We scroll all the way down to those. So we will have a reference screen has been unlocked. The T-shirt on Redbubble, which is a mainstay of our crowdfunding campaigns, has also been unlocked. We have unlocked the Aegis Atlas, which will expand and spotlight some of the locations in the world outside of sort of the central area of Greece. And we are just shy of expanding the atlas to include more locations and devices. So that unlocks at 40K. We are currently, as I said, at about 36. So if you've not yet backed it, consider doing so. If you have backed it, consider throwing some extra at it for picking up some add-ons. We have a lot of cool add-ons on there. If you've not yet picked up um, some of the other Trinity Continuum books, you can get those add-ons included right here. And generally speaking, the add-ons I know for the things that are already available will usually be made available pretty much as soon as the all the payments are processed and things are good to go with the backer kit.
Okay, I've finished my
Excellent.
stuff. In terms of path contacts, it sounded like we get one per path.
Yes,
They're still applied in the same way that they are in the core with access.
absolutely.
Contacts,
So the way it'll work is you have one example contact, and you can also like those examples are suggestions. If you have another concept for a contact that does not fit quite within those, you're welcome to pitch it out, and I'm sure we can make it work.
Mhm.
But yeah, effectively they all start with one tag out of the tag options. And then as you raise your path dots, you can either add additional contacts with different tags or stack tags on one contact. Make sense?
Yeah, but in terms of what was it? Oh yeah. So community contact and access. That's still. Oh, sorry, path contacts, not connections. My mistake. Okay. Do you want me to go down the list or?
Yeah, let's walk through them.
Okay, so edges. I wound up taking Hardy, forceful martial artist, armor expert, and tough cookie.
Beautiful, lovely choice selection.
I have a minimal number of skills right now.
You all do. You all only have 9, but
Oh no, I know. Hold on, yeah. Aim, athletics, close combat, integrity, and survival.
I'm shocked and amazed at
I know,
that skill
right?
selection.
Who would have thought it? And then path contacts, I took adventurers for the origin path because it just seemed appropriate. There was like extreme hobbyists kind of thing, so I figured it was like the equivalent of that.
Sure.
I took training master for combat specialist, though I'm debating switching that for military unit because just depending on how arrogant I want him to be, in the sense that sure I learned what I could from you, but really it's the adulation that I want. Which
Sure.
is why I've also taken poets for his circle of heroes contacts, because somebody's got to tell the stories.
Excellent. So you have a dandelion following you around.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Toss a coin to your Olympian.
Excellent. And what rating were your skills at? I'm sorry, did you? I know you listed the skills, but what were the ratings?
So aim and integrity 1, athletics and survival 2, close combat 3.
Beautiful. And Scott, did you run down your skill selections and values?
Yeah, sure. I've got athletics at 3, close combat at 5, empathy at 3, medicine in 1, and survival at 3.
Of course. And again, that's with the
That's with the bonuses,
the final step included.
Yep.
So once you have got those points spent, Corey, are you still working on your skills and edges?
So skills wise, I ended up going with culture, Enigmas, technology, pilot, and survival.
Okay.
And edges, I'm going to take polyglot, library, Mr. Fix-It, and direction sense.
Excellent. And then,
Um,
did you get your contacts sorted out?
no, I was just starting to look into that since everyone else was mentioning contacts.
Sure. Feel free to take a look at that. And what were your skill ratings at?
Oh, 2 culture, 3 enigmas, 2 technology, 2 pilot, and 1 survival.
Wonderful. While you're looking over your contacts, I do want to touch base real quick on the next step. Normally, it would be skill tricks and specialties. I prefer to loop back around to those to the end because those can be a bit of analysis paralysis. So we will circle back. Don't let me forget to do that. Um, so that'll bring us over to attributes. Um, you will note you have 3 arenas, which are the vertical groupings, and you can prioritize those. Your primary arena gets 6 additional dots to spend in it beyond the first dot and everything which you get for free. Your secondary receives 4 dots, and your tertiary gets 2 dots.
642.
Yep. Once those have been assigned, you'll note that horizontally you have the force, finesse, resilience approaches. You will select the approach that your character favors, um, and that will allow you to add 1 dot to each of those attributes within that approach, provided it does not take you above 5. If it does take you above 5, you move that dot to anywhere else in the arena. Make sense?
Finished.
Glorious. And Scott, what do you have for your attribute assignments?
So, I mean, this includes the various bonus attributes that you get
Sure.
later in character creation. I went primary physical, so I've got might 5, dexterity 3, stamina 4. Secondary, I went mental, intellect 2, cunning 3, resolve 3, and then finally social with presence 3, manipulation 1, composure 2, and I chose the force arena.
Beautiful. Excellent. And remind me when we get over to the moments of inspiration for me to just remember to circle back and figure out which one of those came from that.
Yeah.
So, Simon, did you say you got your attributes spent?
Yep. I did physical as primary. So might have 4, dex and stamina of 3. Mental was secondary, intellect and intellect of 2. Oh, I'm sorry. I picked force as my primary arena, so I'm including that here.
Excellent.
Intellect of 3, cunning 3, resolve 2, and then social is also last with presence 4, manipulation and composure 1.
Excellent. I love it. Good call. So not a particularly deceptive. Very much everything's okay here. Situation normal.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see you javelining someone in the face and then saying boring conversation anyway. And Corey,
Presuming you got to the level of conversation.
exactly.
Yeah. I figured since at least 2 other players in this game are going to go with physical, I should go with mental. And so I've got,
Given your skill selection, I also think
Yeah.
that's probably
Yeah. I've got int 5, cunning 3, resolve 3 because I picked resilience as the preferred, or sorry, int 4, 4, 3, 3. Might, dexterity, and stamina got the least love, might being 1, dex 2, stam 3, and presence 2, manipulation 3, composure 4.
glorious.
Because resilience was
Excellent. So next, and just so I want to make sure I'm not jumping too far ahead. Did you get your contacts sort of figured out?
I'm not entirely like, do I just pick one from each of these and give
Yep.
them one
Y-
dot?
yes, so you get one dot contact from each of your paths,
Mhm.
and that gives those contacts each get one tag.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, but I don't know what tags are.
The tags are listed under your contacts.
Connections,
Yes.
contacts. Just I see. All right.
Yep, yep.
Cool.
And if you have a idea for a tag that is not represented there, I'm happy to entertain them. They are completely customizable. If you want just a tag that's like uh, amazing fisherman, okay, cool.
Yeah.
If that's what you want, knock yourself out. Um, you know,
Would
uh,
something like loyal qualify as a tag for a contact, or is that
I
less effective?
I would have no objection to it, but it would be uh, it would certainly be less effective for a starting. Like if you chose something like loyal as your starting tag, that would mean you'd have somebody who really doesn't know much, isn't capable of doing much, but they really like you a lot, which can be handy. You can spin that into a useful thing. You know, so I would say sure.
All right, I'll.
All right. In that
Yeah.
case, we're gonna go with the travelers and the traders. Probably just like small group of informants around there to tell me about anything interesting. Uh, blacksmith, just as kind of like a tech help, and explorers. Last one.
Excellent. And what?
Investigative for that one.
Excellent. Beautiful. All right.
Like
Now,
maybe I can hire someone to go somewhere and do something.
okay. And let me just double, triple check here. So I think the order in which things are broken out are a little bit different here. Yes. So at this point, you also may go ahead and spend 6 additional dots among any skills. These do not necessarily just need to be those that are included in your paths. Um, you will want to try to make sure you have at least one that's at a 3 or higher.
I've got my contacts all figured out now. If you want to go through them now.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, let's do that while they're going through their
Sure.
skill expenditure.
So the first one is for my survivalist path. All of these presumably have names, but he doesn't think of them in that way.
Fair enough.
So the first one is Berry Woman, which is an old woman who lived out in the woods who fed him berries from time to time.
Nice.
And her tag is Witch.
Excellent.
So yeah. Then we have Hunter, who is a hunter who used to hunt him. Kind of had a Moby Dick scenario, until one day he wounded my character got the better of this guy of this hunter, and forced him to give up the hunt. And when I was a man, we met again, and had a different relationship. And that's for combat specialist. And then teacher from the Circle of Heroes. Oh, and oh man, what was his tag? The hunter's tag. Um, um, let's go wise for that one.
Okay.
And for the Circle of Heroes, teacher is someone who he eventually found amongst the Circle of Heroes to like I said, teach him how to fight as a man. Basically taught him the Pancrase skills and the more martial arts skills. And he is influential.
Beautiful. Perfection. Well, on that note, then now we get into the taste of ambrosia section of our character creation. This is where we finalize a decision on whether they're a champion, oracle, or Olympian, and establish the circumstances of their moment of inspiration. when they knowingly or otherwise encountered ambrosia and the miraculous substance forever changed their life. This does um, act as sort of a fulcrum point for their destiny, but they may not even be actually aware of the true nature of what occurred. Could be due to ignorance, could be due to others concealing the truth from them, could be due to some sort of damage to their memory. Likewise, this could be a extremely sharp focal point in their history, something that that is a defining moment both in their character type, but also in their journey. Um, and Scott, what did you select for your moment of inspiration?
I went with mythological encounter.
Okay, excellent. And what did you have specifically in mind for that? So,
Well, yeah, like I said, according to his memory, he started life as a bear, and then encountered some god or some terrible thing out in his hunting, that kicked his ass and turned him into a man. So yeah, some terrible thing out in the woods, that has an undefinable power that was able to mess with him. What whether what the case is, like, was he actually a bear, or was he just a guy who lived out in the woods? That's a question I leave unanswered. But he had an encounter with something that radically altered him.
excellent. And that mythic encounter uh, grants you any resilience approach. So, do you remember offhand which
Yeah,
attribute you?
yeah, that was stamina.
Excellent. Beautiful. I love it. Did you have a moment of inspiration in mind, Simon? Were you still
Sure.
working on connections?
Yes, I did. I've got my contacts sorted, and I've got I spent my additional skills.
Excellent. So, what did you wind up with for your skill totals?
Okay, aim 2, athletics 3, close combat 5, command 2, integrity 1, survival 2.
Beautiful. And
Then so contacts.
contacts, yes.
So for adventurers, I was thinking actually maybe citing them as the Nauticoi, if I recall correctly. They're sort of
Yes,
explorers and
absolutely.
so on, and give them the informant tag.
Nice.
So sort of using them in the okay, where's something I can go fight? Where's some great beast that needs slaying, and et cetera, et cetera. Preferably on land, but I'll accept water. Then for roll path, I switched it back to military unit
Okay.
and gave them influential, in as sort of either I guess a noteworthy band of warriors in his city, state, whatnot. And I thought influential in the sense of they can kind of flex their muscle when they want something done. And then then I stuck with poets for well connected. So whenever he wants to just say like, all right, tell my story, everybody, get it all around there. And then we weren't spending extra edge points yet, right?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So then moment of inspiration.
Yep, the next thing we're looking at is moments of inspiration.
Take a quick scan through them here. I was just trying to find them while you're talking.
So where is that?
So you have 4 of them listed in Aegis. These are new. You have Eureka, which is a dawning moment of inspiration in the face of some seemingly insurmountable challenge. So you just have this moment of whoa, that's mind blowing. God Crusher, which is you witness the actions of the chosen of the gods and despaired. You may have seen an Olympian playing tyrant on mortals, an oracle cursing those for not paying sufficient tribute, or even a champion following his own luck without care of the toll it took around them. And this sort of shocked you into inspiration. A mythological encounter. You encountered a creature of legend and lived to tell the tale. Um, or stolen fire. You saw a chance to steal a portion of ambrosia and took it despite the risks. Perhaps collecting glistening blood from a felled beast, quickly soaked golden liquid from a spilled cup, or raided a temple and took what belongs to the gods. Either way, the stolen bounty changed your life. Those are the ones that are listed in Aegis. In addition to those, you will find several suggested moments of inspiration in Trinity Continuum Core, and those begin on. Let's see. Let me just dig through here. While I'm looking for that,
I figured out my moment of inspiration.
please feel free to share.
Whatever, if you're still looking, I can wait.
No, yeah, go ahead. I'm.
Sure.
I'll search while you talk.
Okay. So I do have an edge in mind for when I have extra points, so that's how this is fitting in here to an extent. So I'm going to have it that his father instilled in him the idea that he was descended from Ares, the whole family bloodline is, and that he has to live up to that spirit. And so he's he's trying to constantly train himself. This is what I'm supposed to do. It's my destiny, blah, blah, blah. Fight stuff, kill stuff. We're ignoring the whole like coward aspect of Ares here.
Sure.
But that's why I took hardy, armor expert, and tough cookie, so he doesn't have to get hurt. This goes on until they're engaged in combat with another city, another army.
Okay.
Who amongst has an Olympian who he manages to kill, and in a moment of sheer brutality, cuts into his chest and pulls out his heart and eats it, which happens to be chock full of ambrosia and floods through him, and then he goes with that. So I was also sort of thinking that there's maybe a little thing in the back of his mind going like, well, I wasn't actually good at this until I took it from that other guy, but let's just keep on going here. How about
not think too hard about that.
Yeah, don't question the narrative. Don't question the narrative.
Exactly. So then I took so I got an extra finesse point from there.
Okay. Oh, so you took stolen fire as the selected.
I took stolen fire as the.
Yep. Yeah. Excellent. So yeah,
and then
any 1 dot in any of your finesse attributes.
So I put it into cunning because even if he's questioning, wait, is this my actual destiny, or did I just steal it from somebody? He does his best to sort of cover it up and pretend like nobody knows. So it leaves him with cunning 4, so he's probably pretty good at masking that from everybody.
I love it.
And disposing of those who might question what happened on the battlefield. I guess the idea being that no one saw him do that, but all of a sudden, he kills him, then he's bathed in the golden light or whatever, and awakened to his power rather than ate somebody his heart and got it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, little bit of gore for you there.
I'm for it. I love it, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Corey, have you had a chance to look over the moments of inspiration?
Of the ones in the Aegis book, Eureka made the most sense, but I was still looking for the ones in the.
Oh, sure. They start on page 156.
Just to look at it. I think I'm probably going to go with Eureka, but I'm going to take a quick look at these.
And Eureka is somewhat similar to the sudden realization is listed in the core book, but it's broader. Sudden realization in the core book specifies cunning, whereas Eureka can be used for any mental attribute.
I think I'm just gonna go with Eureka.
Okay. And what attribute would you like to bolster with that?
Let's go with Cunning.
Excellent. Okay. Now that has
And
been
I put my extra skill points, by the way, in athletics 1, command of 1, because I feel like my character is like kind of like a ship captain / mechanic type, right? Probably does own a boat, though probably not a super long travel one, you know.
okay.
Pilot 3, enigmas I raised up to 4, and technology up to 3, and I ended up taking a dot in athletics just because I figured like it's the kind of thing you learn over time as an adventurer. You always need to jump out of the way of something.
That is fair. So with all of those said and done, I didn't miss anybody's, right? Our next step is going into your advantages. Now, this is where my recommendation would be to actually look at the gifts prior to assigning your facets for your inspiration, partially because some of the gifts have a facet prerequisite. Um, so you may want to sort of jump ahead a bit, and you'll find the gifts for Aegis in chapter 6. And now you'll note that the Aegis introduces some new keywords for your gifts. These affect who can take what gift and how those gifts function. There is the ambrosia keyword requires an active source of ambrosia. Gifts with the champion keyword are gifts that only champions may take. The creation keyword require the oracle to create a simple food or drink, or perhaps a liquid to boil to produce steam, which means they take at least a minute or 2 to use. They're not instantaneous. Olympian gifts with the Olympian keyword represent the Olympian's innate ability to wreak changes on the environment of their own body. So they're only open to Olympians. Oracle keyword are powers of divination, weather manipulation, transformation. They only oracles can take them. The transformation keyword allows you to make permanent alterations to the character's body, and often do make them appear visibly inhuman. And the universal gifts, which can be purchased by any character type. These are advanced training or common powers that are unlocked simply by exposure to ambrosia. Some of the universal gifts will have a variation that will reflect how they manifest for the different types of inspired characters. So just to sort of quickly recap that, Olympians can take anything that has basically the only thing that's barred from Olympians are gifts with the Oracle keyword, or the I believe the champion keyword as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So Oracle or champion you can't take as an Olympian. As an Oracle, you cannot take gifts with the Olympian or champion keywords. Make sense?
Yep.
So again, with the gifts, one thing to keep in mind as you are looking through them, you want to make sure that you meet the prerequisites. That may help shape what you decide to spend your facets on when you're building your inspiration for your character. each of your paths should have a list of gifts associated with it. For those of you who are using paths from Trinity Continuum Core, those are detailed. Let's see.
So if it says like
Yeah.
gifts skill, does that mean like pick one from
So-
the collection of gifts for that skill?
Yes, so you'll have some of your paths, your origin and role paths will have an attribute keyword and then skill keywords. So you'll have one attribute, two skills. So from that path, you can select one gift out of those three options.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Your college will only have skill keywords. Make sense?
Yep.
So you have to select one gift from each of your paths, and then you can select a fourth gift, which can be any gift you qualify for. So that's where you can get into luck gifts. That's also where you can get into universal gifts and things along those lines. Or even gifts for another aptitude that you don't normally qualify for. Make sense?
Yep.
So obviously this will take a little bit of looking through it, but I would hasten to point out if you have your Word doc open and you have the navigation on the side, you should be able to see an overview of the names of them that you should be able to open kind of like bookmarks on a PDF. Whilst people are looking through those, Scott, as I assume you have your gifts already ready to rock and roll, let's go over those real quick.
So the first one I picked, all from the various keywords that I had, Hydra Regeneration, which basically at the end of every scene, I automatically downgrade an injury condition, and I can spend an inspiration to either downgrade that one injury condition again, or downgrade a second injury condition. So basically, I regenerate, I heal.
Excellent. And that is drawn from stamina, which comes from which of your paths?
I believe that came from Survivalist.
Excellent. Rock and roll. Yep, looks like it.
Yeah.
And
The second one I got was Pack Leader, which allows me to take control of a small group of wild animals.
nice.
And that's was from Survival, which I believe Circle of Heroes gave me that.
Excellent.
I'm gonna for my bonus one, the one that I get just because, I got put on the beast shape. So I can return to my bear shape.
I love it.
Should I so desire. And that gives me a slew of benefits, which is pretty good. So yeah, I can become a big old bear, which I can increase myself up to size 2 with that, as well as I might be. I think bears aren't that. Would you give me the speed one?
I'd give you the speed scale. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's challenging to outrun a bear. You usually have to like punch it in the face and then outrun it.
Yeah. And I also have I can make basically an unarmed attack that has tag points up to my destructive facet, which I do have destructive of 3.
Excellent. Have you selected what tags are going to be involved with that then?
I'm still noodling on that, but brutal's probably going to be one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if my guess off the top, now this is not proscription.
Mm-hmm.
This is
yeah.
This is suggestion would be brutal, deadly, piercing.
Yeah,
that sounds
about right. Yeah,
sounds
about right.
Sounds like getting slapped by a bear.
Yeah, sounds exactly like getting slapped by a bear. And the final one that I got from my combat specialist path is attaining a giant stature. So that allows me to become damn huge. I can spend a point of inspiration to increase my size scale pretty dramatically. Let me just. Yeah, I can increase my size scale by 1, durability and might scales by 1 as well. So I can become a really big bear if I so
Excellent.
desire, or a really big man. You know, we can mix and match those.
Sure.
So yeah, he's a big damn threat. Is what this guy is all about. He's about being big and using that big.
And just for clarification and edification purposes, those two each require an inspiration expenditure to turn on, or do either of those automatic?
Attaining the beast shape does not mention have an inspiration.
Excellent. Okay. Rock
So
and roll.
I can just do that at will, it seems.
Beautiful. I like it. Let me just double check and make sure that there's not a cost associated with the base keyword description. I doubt there is, but let me triple check that. Sure isn't. Yeah. So
That's a little silly.
it is a little bit. Let's see. Let me delve in one last thing because it's, let's see, attaining B shape was under stamina. Is that correct? Cunning. Okay. Um, yeah, the transformation lasts. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Transformation lasts as your character wishes to transform back. They fall asleep or unconscious, in which case they automatically return to their human form.
Right. So you could conceivably wake up in the morning and just go full bear.
Yeah.
And just for clarification of the audience at home, we are referring to bears the animal, not.
Yes.
No, I mean, if you want to transform into a giant bear, that's fine too.
Bears come in
maybe
form other than giant.
If you haven't had the chance to, I highly recommend the film Chillerama, particularly the segment "I Was a Teenage Werebear." It is not the mammal that he transforms into.
Well, technically.
Well, yes, it is a mammal. Yeah, that's true. It's also a musical, so it's a twofer. All right, so that covers your gifts. Awesome, rock and roll. Have you had any opportunity to browse through those gifts, Corey? Any thoughts?
I've been looking through them. I have one question, which is where can I find what I can take from Tech Expert? Because it doesn't list gifts with the role in the core book.
Technology expert?
Yeah. At least I didn't see it.
Sure does.
Or am I
You have
just
to look on page 155. That's where the gift keywords for origin and role paths from the core book are.
I see. I found it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. The character creation in the core book, if you're watching this and you are brand new to Trinity Continuum, the core rulebook's character creation is set up kind of in 2 phases, and that's to make for easier integration with, it's kind of future proofing it a little bit. So you build your base character, and then there's the last chapter of the book, or the next to last chapter of the book, chapter 6, is dedicated to the talent portion of character creation, which is the playable characters in Trinity Continuum core. So all the gift specific things are located there. Which makes it really easy when you're making a character in Trinity Continuum core. When you get into a book like Adventure or Aether or Aegis, you'll want to be sure that there are places where it references back to the talents character creation. So a little bit of extra for your noggin. And if you really want to complicate your life, you can. There's no reason you cannot use the gifts that are included in Trinity Continuum Core alongside Aegis. They just will require a little bit of finagling at your table to figure out exactly how they fit in with the setting. And some of them are going to be very difficult to sort into the setting. Doesn't mean they're impossible, and it doesn't mean you can't take some
Digital scan.
right. Doesn't mean you can't take some interesting takes on that, right?
Now, would those be usable for all 3 types, or would they only be used for champions?
Let me double check if it speaks on it specifically in the book. My assumption would be that they would be all types. They would be considered universal. But let's see. Nope, it actually lists specifically that champions may take gifts from the Trinity Continuum core rulebook.
Yeah. They're basically the same animal. It's just
right. And there's and that's the thing. I guess to do a little bit of peeling back the layers of design while our associates are looking through gifts. Talents are the core character type in Trinity Continuum Core. They're also the core character type in Trinity Continuum Anima. Other than that, they're present in Aeon and Aberrant, but they're not the focal point of those. And talents, as presented in those settings, function exactly as talents in the core rulebook. In the other settings, in Aether, in Adventure, in Aegis, they are what I would call talent adjacent. Talents plus. They are talents, yes, but those types operate with some additional bells and whistles and sometimes some additional restrictions. So I'm talking in Aether it's Squires, in Adventure it's Daredevils, and in Aegis it's Champions. So you do want to make sure that you are looking at the specifics of the setting that you're looking at to see if there's any bells and whistles you might be missing, because sometimes things work a little bit differently. I'm thinking specifically in Aegis, the way you interact with dramatic editing is very different for a champion than it is for a talent in core. So keeping an eye on that is advisable. Having said that, unless my understanding, and if I'm wrong, Ian can appear behind me in a puff of smoke and smack me in the back of the head. But my understanding is that basically, unless it says otherwise, they function as anything that a talent can take, those types can take. If that makes sense, right?
yeah, makes sense.
Also, I would like to take this opportunity to point out that you can do whatever the hell you want at your table. We will not show up and take your books away.
Nope.
That was done with Mage Revised and did not work out very well.
Are you a Magnolia fan? No.
I'm reminded of an old quote from the Aberrant Player's Guide that basically said, "Yeah, you can play this game however you want. The jackbooted thugs are still marching around, making sure people play Vampire correctly. So they won't get to Aberrant players for a good long while."
Nice. I love it. So yeah, having said that, do we have any progress on the gifts front?
I'm still
I think I'm gonna go with your 7-day forecast. It seems very useful to be able to know the weather. That one is in the intelligence section.
Okay, excellent. And that comes from which path?
Foreigner.
Excellent.
Then technology expert gives me a technology one. Or actually I think hold on, technology expert let me do another ent one, right? Let me double check that.
Technology expert is intellect, science, and technology.
Yeah, ent. So I was taking another ent one for universal speech. which I think is an int one, but it's in the middle of all the other cunning ones, but it says int. So I'm not really sure.
I think it means that you can take it for both.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Does it show up in the what's it called?
Universal speech, which is basically
So generally, what will happen? Now, this may be a function of okay, it does say attribute intellect. I think that might just be it was an error. It was placed in the wrong section. Now, it may be, it's quite possible. What will generally happen as you go through the gifts, you'll note that a single gift might appear under different headers, right? Usually, what will happen is it's the first time that it shows up alphabetically by category. That's where the full description will be, and then later it will just refer back to PXX for the initial appearance of it. My guess, based on the manuscript, is that it's meant to be an intellect gift that also you could take with cunning. That they just didn't get that quite right. So, so since I know there's a couple backers in the chat, you should make sure you put that in under errata.
and so
But
then
as Judge Mills Lane would say, I'll allow it.
And then the last one being oh shoot, that doesn't do what I thought it did. Okay, hold on.
That is not a gift.
Yeah, I just realized that the Scandian Storm didn't give me skill technology as a gift, but I was reading from the wrong section.
No worries.
So I'm going to go find a skill pilot one, maybe.
Hearing that something came from the Foreigner path just immediately made me think of, is there a gift that gives you all the powers of the rock band Foreigner?
Yeah, right. I was thinking about that as soon as you said hearing it came from the Foreigner path. I'm thinking to myself,
makes you cold as ice.
Coming to the story path
I'll take the
nexus
cold as ice power from the Foreigner path.
as soon as
I'm willing to sacrifice. So
it writes itself.
This will be the first story path nexus release for Aegis.
The belt that gives you all the powers of Foreigner.
Yeah. But you have to get like 5 foreigners together, and they form like Captain Foreigner.
Oh no.
with the powers of earth, air, fire, water, and heart.
Yeah.
I quit.
Excellent.
I should have put puns on my yes go.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll add it right now. I have it open still. So any luck on your gift selection, Simon?
Yeah, it took a bit of narrowing down, but for adventurer, I've taken one from Might to put the world on your shoulders.
Excellent.
That'll give me the up in scale on an action. Combat specialist, I took one from Resolve. I took Unquestionable because he doesn't have much in the way of social defense, except in this case. Skill from Circle of Heroes. I took one from Close Combat, obviously, which was Mighty Cleave. And then my open one was One of My Labors. To get more bonuses to various things that I declare are important to me at this moment in time.
Okay. And you have the resolve at 5 to qualify for that?
For One of My Labors? Hold on.
Yep.
Maybe not.
Check your prereqs.
Yep, I thought I did, and maybe I left that one out by accident. If it is Resolve 5, I do not have that. So, moment here.
Sure. And what was the labors one? I'm sorry.
Wait, One of My Labors? That was my open one.
Yep. Okay.
So,
Yeah, both of the resolve gifts have a high prereq for resolve.
Yeah. Notice.
Having said that, though, you can always dip, as I said, into Or no, you're playing a
Olympian.
Olympian, so no, you can't. And though they are not direct analogs, and though it does not specify it in the text to the best of my awareness, if I were running a game at my home table and not for the streaming purposes, I would probably be hunky dory with you grabbing stalwart gifts from adventure as a Olympian, and mesmerist gifts as an oracle. Though again, that is me. That's not in the book. That's something I might recommend at my home table.
I would also make that call.
Yeah. They may not be the exact same thing, but they rhyme.
I don't know if I'd allow stalwarts to take Olympian gifts though.
Yeah, that might be that might be a bit much.
A little much. Yeah.
As Aegis definitely does ramp up the power scale and ramp up the fantasy aspects of it.
Mhm.
So Corey, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you have all 4 of your gifts?
Wait, there were 4. Where did I get the 4th one? I didn't
You
pick
get
anything.
one of each, and then just a 4th one that's whatever you qualify for.
Oh, that's going to be so much harder. All right. But it's only from the things that I could pick from.
No, you can. The 4th one can be from anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere, as
shit.
long as you
All right.
qualify for the gift, right? So yeah, it can be anywhere except you
I'll be
can't
looking
take
for
like
that one for a minute.
Like you can't take a
Well-
champion gift, you can't take a oracle gift or a
Right.
Olympian gift. But yeah,
Well, you could take that technology one that you were thinking about.
Yeah, I was going to say I could just take the atemporal knowledge one.
yeah. I mean that would be perfect, and then that way you're covered. And you have the
I'm debating between fast travel and guide the ships home, but I'm thinking fast travel is more likely to come into play, so I'm going to take that.
fast travel is handy.
So that's the pilot one from Scandian Storm. And then I guess for the 4th one, I'm going to pick up atemporal knowledge from technology.
Excellent. And fast travel
Which-
effectively lets you cut your travel time in half, no matter what.
Yeah.
And what does the atemporal knowledge?
Atemporal basically means that I can kind of invent and understand technology anywhere from like now till the 19th century.
Nice.
But the way I'm gonna kind of play through that is that like my character just can occasionally, accidentally design a vehicle that powers itself if need be. Stuff like that.
I dig it.
Steam engine.
Well, now that you have your gifts together, and do any of your gifts have any prerequisites in terms of facets?
I don't believe they did.
Excellent. That'll make your job much easier. So,
Okay, I got my extra one.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I got my replacement. for,
Excellent. What was that?
Maze of Iron and Bronze.
Beautiful. Love that gift. If you could break down real quick for me what it does.
Sure, that's the one where if I take an action to affect defensively, my close combat skill is a complication on all attacks against me until my next turn. Attackers who don't miss or fail to buy off the complication suffer an injury condition. And if I have a reach weapon, then this applies to anyone moving into close range.
Excellent. Rock and roll. And none of yours, correct me if I'm wrong, have facet prerequisites either.
I don't think so, no.
Excellent. That makes our lives much easier. As when we get into your facets and inspiration, effectively, you have 3 dots to spend in your facets. You'll see on the sheet, you'll have your destructive, intuitive, and reflective facets. And if you go to that section in chapter 4 of Aegis, it will explain to you what expending inspiration can do for you. It explains to you what each facet basically does in Aegis, but if you want the full all the bells and whistles breakdown of how facets work, you will want to head over to page 153 of Trinity Continuum core that adds a couple of extra things that you can do with your facets when you spend inspiration. And the way your facets break down, short version, destructive facet is about direct action and using the force approach to achieve goals. Intuitive facet is about ability to excel in areas where quick action, quick wits, and a quick tongue is helpful. It is connected to the finesse approach. And the reflective facet is capacity for patience, careful thought, planning, focus, and is tied to the resilience approach. You get 3 points to spend. How you spend those points will determine your inspiration score. Because everyone begins with 1 dot of inspiration, and then you gain another dot of inspiration anytime you have a facet reach 1, 3, or 5. Follow what I'm saying? So if you put 1 in each of your facets, you would start with inspiration 4. If you put 3 in one facet, you would start with inspiration 3. If you did 2 in 1, you would start with inspiration 3. Make sense?
Wait,
Sure.
2 and 1 is 3?
Yep. Because every time you get a facet at 1, 3, or 5, you gain a dot of inspiration.
So
The only way to get 4 at character creation is to get a 1 in all 3.
Oh, okay. You start with 1 and then you gain 1. All right,
Yeah.
I got it. I was like, why is it not 2?
Yeah, you get 1 free dot of inspiration, and then anytime one of your facets hit one of those values, you get another dot.
I think I'm going to go 1 intuitive, 2 reflective.
Glorious.
Because I'm imagining there's going to be a lot of destructive from those 2. Got to balance it out a little.
That's fair. And where did you spend your facets, Scott? You may have mentioned this before, but
Destructive 3.
that's what I thought. Any thoughts on your facets there, Simon?
Thinking destructive 2, intuitive 1. Shake things up just a tiny bit.
Sure.
Not
No.
match Scott dot for dot there.
No,
I did realize I made a mistake on gifts. Unquestionable requires a level of integrity I don't have. Har. But I'm just going to sort that one out.
And you're welcome to swap out your dots still. Like if your free dots, you can certainly swap them out to meet that prerequisite if you need to.
Yeah, okay, let's just do that. He's got a lot of integrity somehow.
Sure.
Keep that. Scratch that and scratch that. Okay. Done.
Last couple things we need to sort out then. I noted, well, now you have 4 more dots to spend in edges that can be assigned to any edge as long as you meet the prerequisites. And we will calculate your health, which you begin with 1 level of bruised, 1 level of injured, and 1 level of maimed. So you want to fill in the boxes next to those. If you reach stamina 3, you gain an additional level of bruised, or no, the additional level of injured, forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get to stamina 5, you get an additional bruised level. Make sense? And then if you have any edges, gifts, anything like that that gives extra health levels, then you'd apply them as detailed in those gifts. Didn't sound like anybody did have any of those. And the last thing I'm going to do a quick scan for, and Scott, you are probably a little more familiar with this full manuscript than I am at this point. There are no new skill tricks introduced in this. Is that accurate?
I don't believe there are any new skill tricks, no.
Okay, rock and roll. So you, once your health and all that is sorted out, you spend the 4 dots and edges, and you get 1 extra attribute dot you can put wherever you want, as long as it doesn't take it above 5.
I believe the only books that have skill tricks in them are Core, New Lives, and Aether.
Sounds about right. That does sound accurate. You can, while you're spending those edge traits, or your 4 edges, if you do take the superior trait edge, you can raise one of your attributes to 6. And that is detailed in the core book. And I do believe everybody can take it. Yep. It's 2 dot edge. Whilst we're doing that, Scott, skill tricks and specialties?
The skill trick that I picked up was for close combat. It's Sucker Punch.
Excellent.
Which is a nice little skill trick. It allows basically spend a momentum. I'm sorry. And it says reduce the dodge trick, or stunt by my close combat. Antagonists don't do that. They just have raw defense. So I'm assuming that's how it
Right, it would
works on
affect
defense.
effectively would just pull down
Yeah.
their defense. If you're in the event that you were going toe to toe with somebody who's using PC traits, it would work that way. But as far as antagonists, it would just reduce their defense by your.
I can also spend a momentum to increase my initiative tick by my close combat. So it's pretty nasty.
That is pretty nasty. I like it.
The specialties that I picked up for my 4 skills that are above 3, 3 or above. I have athletics, strongman, close combat, beast-like, empathy, animals, and survival hunting.
Excellent. And just a reminder for how specialties work in Trinity Continuum. Your specialty can be kind of anything that would fall within the basic purview of the skill. They apply to skills that are at 3 or higher, and they cross pollinate. So if you're doing a roll of a different skill, and the specialty for another skill might apply to that, that's when you get the enhancement from the specialty. An example I always like to use is if you're investigating a gunshot, doing a forensic examination of gunfire, your pistol's specialty under aim would come into play there, rather than shooting somebody. Whereas, for example, if you had an intimidation specialty in, blatant threats, that might come into play if you were, say, firing a warning shot at somebody. That might come into play with your aim roll, right? Because it's a warning shot, you're making a blatant threat against the person. Makes sense?
They give you enhancement, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a 1 enhancement for the specialty.
Well, and I also believe if you have a 3 in the skill, it gives you 1 enhancement. If you have a 4, it gives you 2, and if you have a 5, it gives you 3.
Correct. As your skill goes up, the value of the specialty goes up. But they are self-generated. There's no list of specialties.
Yeah.
There is, however, a list of skill tricks, which are detailed underneath each skill in the Trinity Continuum core book, starting on page 44. So, did you spend your extra edge dots, Corey?
Yeah, though I kind of just was reading along and ran into. I was thinking about taking Iron Will earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but then I ran into Indomitable, and I was like, screw it, I'll take Iron Will 3 and Indomitable.
All right, done, sold, rock and roll. You will not. Nobody will be making you do a thing you don't want to do.
Interestingly enough, I don't really have any integrity. Like I haven't practiced this ability. I'm gonna say that it just kind of is like a side effect of
Stay
the
out of my
inspiration.
mind, Charles.
Yeah.
Right. Charles, why you in my head?
Get out of my head. Get out of my head.
Excellent. I love it. I'm a fan of it. And then, yeah, how many skills do you have at 3 or above?
Pilot, technology, and enigmas.
Okay. So you'll want to pick one specialty for each of those, and then a skill trick for each of those.
All right.
Just one.
Just one skill trick, and then a specialty for each of those.
Yeah. I think I understood that.
Yeah. My favorite pilot skill trick, by the way, is I can figure it out, which allows you to spend a momentum to pilot any vehicle for one scene, even if that normally requires training that your character doesn't have.
I feel like it's unlikely that there's such a vehicle at the moment, but
One never knows, but I understand your position there.
I mean, if at one point we do not, like, the two of you do not in fact ride me in bear form, I'll be very disappointed. in fact, that's my second short-term aspiration.
All right.
Be used as a mount.
Be used as a mount. Excellent. Got it.
Be ridden into battle.
Yeah. Are they riding a giant bear? All right, I think we have to give up, guys. I think we have to give up.
Wondrous. And then Simon, had you selected specialty skill tricks? Was there anything? I want to make sure I'm not leaving you behind on any character creation options.
Nope. I'm good. Okay. Edges.
Yes, you have 4 extra dots.
Yeah. So I bought the remainder of Forceful Martial Artist, Highborn, and Fame.
Excellent.
Fame 1, so it's just my city, but
Sure.
Then specialties. I have athletics at 3, so I took lifting.
Excellent.
Close combat at 5, so I took spears, swords, and fists.
Excellent.
And
So
this is 3, right? One of the.
no, you'd have one specialty, but then it gets bonuses.
Oh.
Yep.
Spears.
Excellent.
Spears it is. And for integrity, I was finding it difficult to sort of think of one, so I picked up. I phrased it as like unfazed.
Excellent. Yeah. It's like a poker face, like what was there's a merit in mage.
Blase.
No, it's from Technocracy. It's from Guide to the Technocracy, and we may have introduced it in Technocracy. But basically, what it amounted to is like Cthulhu can show up, and you might be like dying on the inside, but nobody will ever know it. You're just completely stone faced.
Nice.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, and then skill tricks. So we get one free. And
You just get one. You just get one skill trick, and it has to be for a skill at 3 or higher. Technically, if you create a character that doesn't have any skills at 3 or higher, the way I have always interpreted character creation is you still get to pick one skill trick. You just can't activate it until that skill hits 3.
Got it. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait. So one total, or
Yeah, one total.
Oh.
You can buy more later with experience, but you just start with one.
The
Wow,
only
I totally
character
misread
type.
that.
The only character type that can pick up multiple skill tricks at character creation are novas.
Right, because you're buying it with XP.
Yeah,
That's
you have
what
a
I
dump
am,
truck of XP.
right? I'm playing a Nova in.
No.
Okay, well, that actually.
No, we don't get that target number 7. So we're not-
Olympians are cool. They're not that cool.
Deadly. I'm torn between Deadly Strike and It's All in the Reflexes. It's All in the Reflexes seems pretty badass.
I mean, as a lifelong fan of John Carpenter's films, I do have to say I'm a fan of It's All in the Reflexes.
Mm-hmm. let's go with that.
Excellent.
I've got some defensive stuff, but that's a nice defense turn to offense.
Love it. And then Corey, did you settle on a skill trait?
Nope. I'm still kind of reading through them. But I'm trying to think of how we might adapt like the idea of like Overwatch.
Oh,
'Cause it's one of the technology ones. I'm not sure that it adapts because it comes through technology, right?
right,
That's
but
bodies of iron and bronze.
I mean, I guess what I would say with that. So Overwatch,
Character is always there to watch for his teammates while he's monitoring a security feed camera or sensors at a location, right? Like,
sure.
I guess with Oracle, I kind of do have the ability to.
Theoretically, but so here's how I would run that. I would run that if you took Overwatch as your skill trick, I would say it would apply anywhere where you can perceive with your natural senses. And then if you were using any Oracle gifts, such as like remote viewing through, I can't remember what the name of the gift is, but there's a
Yeah,
gift that lets you.
I didn't take that gift, but that it does exist.
Right. It would apply there as well. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So you can absolutely just take Overwatch.
Because that's kind of an interesting one. I could spend momentum to reduce the target number of a roll for any ally.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Anything that reduces target number is nice.
yeah, it seems super nice. So
it is handy to have. Beautiful. So I think I guess the last thing is, did you come up with any short-term aspirations, Corey?
no, but apparently riding a bear is going to be one of them. No,
It absolutely can be. I have no problem with aspirational synergy in that way.
that sounds hilarious. Want to make that happen.
All right, excellent. Riding a bear is one of your short terms.
All right, yeah. No, I still kind of got to get an idea of like where I'm at. I guess.
That's fair enough. Is there anything remaining in character creation that we haven't touched on, or that you all have any questions about, or anything that we haven't covered that you feel we need to cover?
Is additional pass a later thing, like through XP?
Yes, you can
Okay.
purchase up to.
I'm
You can
just
have up,
looking at the character sheet to see if I'm missing
yeah,
anything.
you can have up to 5 paths normally. There may be some suggestions in Hated and Feared for Aberranth. Let's more than that, but we won't talk about that yet. Typically it's 5. So you can buy additional ones with XP. Well, in that case, what I believe we will do, because we have 2 characters who are effectively sort of Mediterranean focused, essentially, right? I mean, I guess theoretically, Scott, your character could be from anywhere, but we're going to assume you're in the Mediterranean.
There are bears in Greece.
Sure. And since kind of part of Corey's character's backstory is that you're not currently in Scandia, I think we will start somewhere in the nebulous Mediterranean. I will settle on a specific between now and next week. Last and hardest part of this, and if we don't have them, that's fine. I'm okay with wrapping up without them and revealing them next week. Scott, what's your character's name?
Tyrael.
And how's it spelled?
THIRI with a little thing on it. O.
THIRIO, and the I has
The second I has an accent mark.
an accent mark.
Yep, it is
For-
Greek for beast.
Love it. Beautiful. Simon, have you settled on a name?
Yes. Thrasos.
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 Excellent. And have you settled on a second short-term aspiration, or do you want to wait until?
I'll come up with one for next.
Excellent. And Corey, have you settled on a name?
I wrote down Michael Michelson as a joke, but could very much be it. I'll see if I can get a better one by next week.
Okay, for the moment, I will call you Michael. All right. And character pronouns.
He, him.
Excellent. For Scott?
He, him.
I mean,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. So Simon uses he, him.
we'll go with he, him. That's fine.
Excellent. Just want to make sure I don't F that up on stream, so it's going in the notes. All right. Well, on that bright, shiny note, we have enough information to make us dangerous. Congratulations. You have, in the span of just about precisely 2 hours, made your characters for Trinity Continuum Aegis. It is that fast, folks, for people who have really never engaged with Aegis before, I don't think, at least from character creation perspective, right? Once again, if you've not yet done so, I highly recommend you head over to BackerKit and lend your support. As little as $5 gets you in the door for access to the manuscript. And if you've already backed, like I said, there are some add-ons you might want to consider looking at. Let's get that 40,000, unlock that next stretch goal, and keep it moving. We've got 11 days left in the BackerKit campaign. And when we return next session, we will be once again promoting that backer kit. We will be beginning our adventure somewhere in the nebulous Mediterranean. I'll settle on a specific between now and then, and I have some interesting stuff in mind. Like I said, I think we'll go 2 sessions. If things get flossy, we might go 3. And I would just like to extend my gratitude to not only the faces you see on the screen for joining us. Thank you all for being here, but also to those of you who are watching, whether it be live or on VOD. We're going to call it a night. We will be returning same time next week, directly after Scion Godsend. So, on our way out the door, Scott, please tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, your pronouns, their pronouns, and anything you would like to promote.
Sure thing. My name is Scott Cuban. I am playing Therio, the Bearman. His and my pronouns are he, him. You can find me on the Bird app or the Letter app at Simulacra RPGs, also on YouTube and Twitch at Simulacra TV. Tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the finale of The Undesirables, my Trinity Continuum Adventure series. It's really good. I really hope people tune in for that, because there's some really excellent role play in this episode. And yeah, check me out there.
Rock and roll. And is the backlog of Undesirables on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, all of that's on the YouTube channel. I just uploaded 4 and 5 as we were doing this.
So, excellent. So yeah, if you need to binge and catch up, binge. You know?
All on the YouTube, which once again, Simulacra TV.
Rock and roll. Thank you so much, and thanks for being here. Always exciting to get a chance to play with you, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great times.
Yeah, and speaking of people I'm always excited to play with, Simon, please tell us who you are, what you do, who you're playing, your pronouns, their pronouns, and anything you would like to promote.
Sure. So my name is Simon, and I will be playing Thrasos, the son of Ares, for both he, hims. I'll promote this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Onyx Path Twitch channel. I'll be hosting Walking into Shadow, which is a Mage of the Ascension 20th anniversary introductory series. This season, we are focusing on storytelling and setting up a Mage Chronicle for the newcomer. So come check that out. You get to contribute, because why not? It's fun that way. Then I also review RPGs over at the tabletopalmanac.wordpress.com. And can I pump Extra Life?
By all means, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I have the privilege of joining the Dork Tales team for my second year with Extra Life. Extra Life is a charity that raises money for children's hospitals by playing games. And so we'll be streaming them at the Dork Tales channel, which I guess is just twitch.tv/Dork Tales.
Yep. And that's link is in the chat for those of you watching.
Thank you. And I'll be in 3, one of which is an Onyx Path one on Friday the 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern. They came from Camp Murder Lake. And then if you
One of
wanna
my
have a
favorites.
blast, come join me immediately after at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time until 4:45 a.m. Eastern Time while I run Cohorts Cthulhu for members of the Dork Tales team. And then we're up the next night / morning for Kids on Bikes. But there's a whole lot of other great ones, great games being run on that channel that weekend. And you can donate ahead of time, but if you're watching, you can donate during play, which can affect the gameplay by making it more difficult on the players or easier if you're weird that way. But yeah, definitely come. They're a great team. And I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, come check it out.
The good
It's one of
folks
those-
at Dork Tales are some of my favorite carbon-based life forms. So send my love to everybody over there. And yeah,
there was one more thing I wanted to plug.
Oh, sure.
I co-host a podcast called Opcast, Arms Around the Trinity Continuum, with
yes,
my good friend Josh Heath, and we review all first and Story Path Edition Trinity books. I'm pretty sure we'll do the D20s at some point as well. But that is a retrospective and review podcast, which we go over all things Trinity. So check that out.
and that's on all podcasting platforms,
All
right?
podcasting apps. So look for Opcast, OPCAST.
Dope. Rock and roll. Simon, did you have anything else?
No, I think that was sufficient.
Rock and roll. And last but most certainly not least, Corey, please give us your pertinence.
Yeah, hey, I'm Corey Frang, aka Narf on the interwebs. And yeah, working on a video game called Caves of Cud, which you can find on wherever you get your, tasty video games from, itch, Steam, etc. We also recently dropped a new release trailer, which I'm going to drop the YouTube link.
Please do.
Unless Travis beat me to it.
No, go for it. I put up the Caves of
and-
Cud link, but yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. And I'm really happy with the new trailer. So go check it out. Get a quick flavor of what our game might be about. And maybe you check it out.
Excellent. Did we get your name, your pronouns, your character's name, and their
Yeah,
pronouns?
I think so. Oh, considering the character's name is tentatively Michael Michelson, we'll probably try to come up with something better.
That's fair enough.
And they, them for me, he, him for them.
Excellent.
Him.
I
He
mean,
doesn't object to being them. either,
them
so,
almost always works.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. And I guess that leaves me. My name is Travis. My pronouns are he and they. When I'm not running games, I am writing them. The next time I believe you'll see me on this channel will be next Sunday for session 1 of our Aegis actual play. I normally run a bi-weekly Scarlands stream on Wednesday nights, but we are on hiatus right now as our lovely Slytherin druid is off getting married in the really real world. So we will return for our 4th and likely final season of that campaign on August 30th, as long as the creek don't rise. I have written and developed several books. I did a little bit of writing on Aegis, so I'm very proud of the work, and I would love to have you support it. I'm also very happy that we get to have some of the Scandian Storm on here, because as I confessed when we did our writer circle, it's my favorite college that I wrote on. What else do I want to tell you? Follow me over at everywhere on the internet, pretty much at Travis Legge, Legge. And I will be, when I'm not working for Onyx Path, I also run my own publishing company called Aegis Studios, and we have something big cooking in terms of crowdfunding things that should be coming before the end of August. So please be sure to hit my social media, give me a follow, and keep an eye out for that. Until then, all I would ask is that you make sure that you're up to date on your shots, that you're washing your hands, and being a conscientious citizen. And as the late Jerry Springer always said, be good to yourselves and each other. We'll see you again next time.
See you next time.
Bye.